Good day and welcome to Conversations with AARP in the Virgin Islands. I'm Troy Deshabert Schuster, State Director of AARP in this territory. And as always, it's a pleasure to speak with you today and to bring you important information affecting the lives of so many people here in the Virgin Islands. Not just the 50 plus population, but so many things that affect people of all ages. AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering people to choose how they live as they age. With nearly 38 million members, AARP has been working to promote the health and well being of older adults. AARP has over 5 million members nationwide who are veterans or currently serving in the U.S. Armed Forces. In an effort to support those servicemen and women, AARP launched the Veterans, Military, and Their Families Initiative in 2018, also known as VMF, again standing for Veterans, Military, and Their Families. The VMS is designed to help veterans, military, and their families navigate through the complexities of life's transitions by providing authentic, action value resources to those that have served this country. Today's discussion offers insight on the Office of Veterans Affairs and its programs and services in earned benefits for veterans and military personnel living in the Virgin Islands. Joining the conversation is Patrick D. Farrell. He's a director of the Office of Veterans Affairs of the Government of the Virgin Islands. Welcome to the conversation, Patrick.
Hi, good morning, Troy. Thank you for having us here today.
Thank you. Thank you for making the time to be with us. I've heard over the years that the Virgin Islands has had an unusually large number of its citizens or natives serving in the military over the years for many, many, many decades. So we can safely conclude that a very high percentage of our population here are veterans. And so it's very timely for us to have this conversation, very important to discuss what work you do, the work of your office, and all of the benefits that our veterans can look forward to receiving. So tell us, how is the Office of Veterans Affairs a benefit to the military, veterans, and their families in the Virgin Islands in particular?
As a matter of fact, Troy, I'll even like to quantify what you just said. We have upwards of 8,000 veterans that are currently now living in the territory. So for us here at the Office of Veterans Affairs, it's very important for us to be the advocate for all of the services that they should be getting and will be getting, because we feel that all veterans here are no different from any other veteran anywhere else in the nation or on the mainland. So advocacy is our main role for our veterans here in the territory.
Thank you for explaining that. And if you explain a little bit more in detail, because prior to this show, I thought that you worked for the federal government. I thought you worked for the Department or the Office of Veterans Affairs of the Government of the Virgin Islands. And now I've been learning that you work for the government of the Virgin Islands. So can you
Absolutely.
draw a little bit on that distinction and tell us more of what you do in particular with regard to advocacy?
And you're absolutely correct. I am employed by the government of the Virgin Islands of the United States, of course, appointed by the governor. Um, it seems to many within the Virgin Islands that the person that holds this office is always a part of the federal part of the VA, known as the Department of Veterans Affairs, but we are actually not. It just seems that way because there's quite a bit of a void as it relates to access mainly to medical services for veterans in the territory. So whoever sits in this chair has to often step up and make sure a lot of things are done for our veterans on the having access to care. So it always seems like we are working for the federal government, which we are actually not. It's just that we advocate so hard for our veterans. It could seem that we are filling the void, but we're just trying to make sure that the Department of Veterans Affairs, they commit to doing what they're really supposed to do, what they're obligated to do for our veterans here in the territory, like all other veterans in the nation.
Yes, yes. And actually, going back to that 8,000 number, that is quite a lot of veterans with a
Mhm.
population of only about 100, 105,000 or so. To have
Correct.
8,000 of them as veterans. And I'm sure that that doesn't even include all of the Virgin Islanders who are veterans but living in other parts of the United States and
Oh,
the
it
world.
absolutely is. It doesn't. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that total number of Virgin Islands
Mhm.
veterans must be a lot larger
Oh,
than
yeah.
the
I
8,000.
couldn't even imagine what that number would be because we have Virgin Islands veterans across from California straight down to the bottom into the panhandle of Florida. So we are all over the nation.
I'm sure.
And we even have some living in the British Virgin Islands, if I could say, and in other um, different islands throughout the Caribbean.
Right, right. Well, the Virgin Islands has served the United States well, and I hope that we will get more and more benefits and more treatment like United States citizens. Uh,
Absolutely.
Now, how is the Office of Veterans Affairs working to raise visibility on the federal level of the unique challenges Virgin Island veterans are faced with compared to their stateside counterparts? You talked a little bit about healthcare and you mentioned a few other things, but now if you could go a little more into detail as to how your office is working to raise visibility on the federal level.
Okay. So, Troy, what we do to raise that awareness on the federal level is as much as possible, we invite different tiers of leadership within the federal government on the VA side to come down into the territory and see firsthand what's taking place. Before the pandemic, the pandemic has curtailed a lot of the travel for officials across the country. But before the pandemic, we will have at a minimum the leadership of the VA Caribbean healthcare system, which is the section of the VA that's they are the ones that have jurisdiction of the outpatient clinics on St. Thomas and St. Croix for the VA. So at a minimum of once per quarter, we invite them to the Virgin Islands to have town halls. This way, they can meet directly with the veterans that are affected on the front line of this access to medical care. Me as the director of the Office of Veterans Affairs, I meet with them on a regular basis. Sometime 5 days within a week, sometime one or two, whatever's necessary. But it's important for me to have them speak directly with our veterans and bring them in once a quarter. So, for instance, the first quarter I'll have them in the St. Croix district, and then in the second quarter I'll have them in the St. Thomas St. John district, and then we'll go flip flop in every other quarter. So we definitely have them, and we don't limit that only to the VA Caribbean healthcare system alone. We also invite the leadership from the VISN, which is the network it has the oversight responsibility of the VA Caribbean healthcare system, which is in San Juan. And within the last 5 years, we've had 2 visits from the Secretary of Veterans Affairs here in the territory by my invitation.
Excellent. Excellent. But that certainly raises awareness.
Absolutely.
He can come here and see and experience for himself.
Mhm.
And I would imagine that you probably call on our delegate to Congress also from time to time for advocacy in Washington, do you?
The delegate's office and my office, we work very closely together. Every time we have those town hall meetings, as a matter of fact, the delegate herself had a couple of town hall meetings and invited another tier of leadership here into the territory. So we always work close together for the benefit of our veterans here in the territory.
Fantastic. A moment ago, you mentioned the outpatient clinics here in the Virgin Islands. And as we know, there's no VA hospital here. The nearest one is Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
I remember during the previous administration of the government of the Virgin Islands, when I was serving on the hospital board, there was talk then about starting inpatient services for veterans in our local hospitals. Did that talk advance, or where are we now with that?
And Troy, I'm actually happy that you mentioned that because I was a part of the previous administration, and I actually was the one that invited leadership again into the territory to meet with our hospital executives to see what can be that next level so we can make sure we take care of our veterans and make sure they have proper access to care. Right before the hurricanes that took place in 2017, we were well on our way to getting an access to a wing within our hospitals on St. Thomas and St. Croix to use for our veterans. That collaboration was well underway. Unfortunately, as we all know, the Hurricane Irma Maria did some damage to both of our hospitals, which definitely curtailed or slowed down the possibility of that collaboration. So the hospital executives and the VA are still in conversation, and hopefully someday we'll be able to make that happen.
Fantastic. I'm here looking also at the comments that I'm getting from through Facebook. Those people looking at us on Facebook, and there's a very important request. But I think it's probably going to come up in the very next question I had, and that is, what are some of the benefits veterans can expect to receive in the Virgin Islands?
Absolutely. There are, of course, I must point out that there are state level benefits, which come out of my office, and then there are the federal level benefits. The federal level benefits are equal across the nation, just not the territory, but equal across the nation. As it relates to the state level benefits, we have, for example, we have the educational benefit where a veteran, once they have exhausted their federal educational benefits called the Montgomery GI Bill, then they authorized to go to our local university, University of the Virgin Islands, and now they can get up to a doctoral degree based on legislation that was passed within the last few years. Nowhere else in the nation do veterans have that. That's one of the benefits that we could toot our horn about, because every other state, they can maybe get a possibly an associate's or a bachelor's degree, but none other can get a doctoral degree. That's one of our biggest benefits. The other one that we probably don't like to talk about too much is the burial benefits, which goes to the family of deceased veterans. We have the highest reimbursement rate for deceased veterans across the nation again, which is at $5,000. Initially, it was $3,500, but we were successful in getting legislation passed to get that up now to $5,000.
Wonderful.
So that's two of the biggest benefits that we have. Of course, we have more. That's two that step out in my mind right away.
Okay, well, our viewer on Facebook wanted you to discuss the new travel arrangements for veterans to go to the hospital in Puerto Rico.
Okay, travel arrangements, absolutely. So we have, if you are a non-service connected veteran, if you have an appointment in Puerto Rico, you pay for your ticket up front, your travel arrangements up front, and then you bring back your receipt and your boarding pass along with your appointment at the VA to the Office of Veterans Affairs, and then we in turn now reimburse you 100% for your travel to your medical appointment to Puerto Rico. Of course, when you get to Puerto Rico, there's a free transportation that gets you from the airport to the hospital, which is the place of your appointment.
That's fantastic. That's a great benefit, 100% reimbursement. And what about if somebody needs to be airlifted? If they need air ambulance service, a veteran, who covers that cost?
Absolutely. And that's a great question, Troy. If someone is in the hospital, and we talk about either the Snyder Hospital or the Juan Louis Hospital, and that person is identified as a veteran, and they are then identified as someone eligible for VA medical care, because not every veteran is eligible for VA medical care. But if that veteran is eligible and needs to be transported out to another facility for increased level of care, then the VA Caribbean healthcare system is the one that picks up that tab 100%.
Okay, and that's the VA Caribbean healthcare system.
Right, which is a sub of the Department of Veterans Affairs. And that wasn't always like that, I must say, Troy. Is because of our relationship within the last 6+ years that we have created that to when any veteran is in the need of that emergency transport, that we make that happen at no cost to the Virgin Islands government.
And just prior to our conversation here on this show, you were telling me that recently you and the governor of the Virgin Islands, Governor Albert Bryan Jr., met with the leadership of the VA Caribbean healthcare system.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little more, first of all, about what that VA Caribbean healthcare system is about, what they do, where are they seated, what domiciled, and then go into details about the meeting that you and the governor had
Okay.
with them.
So the VA Caribbean healthcare system is the headquarters is located in San Juan, Puerto Rico. They have the jurisdiction of all veterans medically that are within Puerto Rico and its all the little islands around it, and the Virgin Islands, or any area within the Caribbean. That's why it's the VA Caribbean healthcare system. So any veteran residing or even visiting at the time anywhere in the Caribbean and needs medical care, that will be that place to make contact with. Now, what they did is they have what we call a VA clinic, one on St. Thomas and one on St. Croix. They have jurisdiction and oversight over those two clinics. They are the ones that hire those folks. They're the ones that staff those two clinics. So those clinics report directly to the VA Caribbean healthcare system. That's how that works. It's right now, Executive Director Carlos Escobar is the Executive Director for the VA Caribbean healthcare system. Now, as far as the meeting, just about 2.5 weeks ago, myself and Governor Albert Bryan Jr., and we were actually joined by the Commissioner of Health, Jose Encarnacion. She was physically there with us. And virtually, we had the CEO of the Juan Louis Hospital and the Roy Leslie Schneider Hospital as a part of that meeting. So we had the medical leadership of the entire Virgin Islands in that meeting with Governor Bryan and myself, who were physically in San Juan. That was the first time that the chief executive of the territory had ever taken the time out to go to San Juan and see what our veterans experience when they have to travel so often for medical care down there in San Juan. Some of the things that came out of that meeting, which were very, very positive, is we have been advocating for some type of a charter flight system so that our veterans won't be inconvenienced by going through TSA, going on the extra small commuter planes. Because remember, these are veterans that are traveling that already have medical ailments. So you want to try and make sure that they are as comfortable as possible. Well, because of that, we now have a charter flight system in place where it will travel from St. Thomas to Puerto Rico once a week and from St. Croix to Puerto Rico once a week. So that's 2 flights coming out of the Virgin Islands. That aircraft is also capable of taking a wheelchair patient or wheelchair veteran to Puerto Rico for their appointment, which is very, very important. Because if you travel on Seabourn or Cape Air, when you land, when you get into the terminal and have to get to the front of the airport, it's a long travel.
Yes. Yep.
But now, with that charter system in place, once you land, there'll be a vehicle right there to get you, and it takes you straight on to the hospital for your appointment. So it eases a lot of the inconvenience for the veterans. And again, it's at no cost to the Virgin Islands government or the veteran.
That is absolutely brilliant. And so this is in addition to the reimbursement.
Absolutely.
Because earlier you said that a veteran can buy the ticket, travel to Puerto Rico, pay for ground transportation, et cetera, and then come back, show their boarding pass and
get reimbursed 100%.
Appointment, all of that, and get reimbursed. So
yes,
but then
that's
now this
condition.
charter flight is really for those patients who would have a hard time traveling commercially, right?
Right. And those that are most importantly service connected. So there are 2 groups of veterans: those that are service connected and those that are non-service connected. Service connected mean you have an injury or an ailment as a result of something that took place while you were serving on active duty. Those that are non-service connected means they have an ailment or an injury that was not as a result of something while they were serving on active duty. So that's how we separate those 2 groups of veterans.
Okay. This is great. This is all wonderful news for our veterans, really, because I have a friend who is a veteran and who needed to have outpatient surgery done over there in Puerto Rico at the VA hospital, and he had nobody to help him. He was a lot older than I and asked me if I would travel with him to help him. and it was so difficult for him to go and have the
Right.
surgery. And of course, it was outpatient surgery, so they discharged him the same day. And the pain that he was in,
Mhm.
to travel back commercially in a small commuter flight with a
Right.
fresh incision and all of that, it was very, very, very difficult for him.
Yes. Sometimes it's just not comfortable. And you just mentioned a great point: the ability to have someone travel with you. If the medical professionals deem it necessary that you need someone to travel to Puerto Rico with you because of the type of appointment or the type of surgery or whatever have you you're about to have, the VA then authorizes someone to travel with you. If you're service connected, the VA will pay for that person's ticket. If you're non-service connected, then the veteran will pay again upfront for the ticket for the companion, and then the Office of Veterans Affairs will reimburse the veteran and the companion's ticket. In addition to that, I would tell you, Troy, that the Office of Veterans Affairs have just been coming up with different ways to make the quality of life better for our veterans. So we know that there are many veterans that are more elderly. So we instituted a policy a couple of years ago that if a veteran is 70 years of age or more, and they have to travel to Puerto Rico for a medical appointment, whether or not the medical professionals deems it necessary for them to have a companion, the Office of Veterans Affairs will reimburse a companion 100% anyway, whether the medical professionals say they need it or not.
Excellent, excellent. Well, bravo to you and your office. It seems like you all are doing great work. As I hear veterans from all over the country complaining about all that they have to deal with, it sounds like our
Yes.
veterans here are being well cared for, and that's so important. People
Right.
who have cared for us and kept our country free. We need to provide for them. And so you were telling me about a new position at the VA, the patient representative or patient advocate. Can you tell us more about that new position?
Yes. And earlier in the show, Troy, I mentioned the void that it may have between the Department of Veterans Affairs and our veterans. One of those voids is the ability to have someone that they could reach out to that reports directly to the Department of Veterans Affairs. We have been advocating for this position for over 4 years for the VA Caribbean healthcare system to have someone stationed in the Virgin Islands, which is very important. Not just to have an advocate for them, but to have someone that's in the Virgin Islands and has an office in the Virgin Islands. So if our veterans have an issue that's directly related to the federal government, they'll be able to walk up to that office, knock on that door, and be able to speak to somebody in person. And that person will be that direct link to the Department of Veterans Affairs. We have finally got to the point where that position was announced on USA Jobs, which is the site that the federal government used to announce their positions. And it has recently closed. So I am very hopeful that someone that's qualified enough for that position was selected and that that person is ready to come on board. I am willing to work alongside with that person to help them navigate in their novice, what takes place with our veterans and the help that we need. I'm willing to assist that person, but I'm very happy that they finally decided to bring someone on board that will be reporting directly to the Department of Veterans Affairs. Happy about that.
I am too. Having a patient advocate is extremely important,
Mhm.
especially when living here in the Virgin Islands, and the difficulties of
Mhm.
having all of our needs met medically here in this territory and so forth, because we are small and we are so very limited. and
Right.
and to have that patient advocate who can make sure that we're getting what we need, and help us to connect with what we need, and to receive all the services is
Yeah.
paramount.
That connection is very, very important. I mean, the advocacy was still there with myself doing that part, but the difference is I reported to the government of the Virgin Islands. This person that's coming in will be reporting directly now to the executive director of the VA Caribbean healthcare system. Whereas Yes, I can pick up a phone. I have direct contact with certain members of the VA Caribbean healthcare system. Yes, but it's going to carry a lot more weight now because this portion reporting directly to them, and a lot of this stuff will be documented and reported on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful. And so we just have a couple of minutes left. If you will, please share with us how other people can obtain the latest information and resources for veterans and their families on service benefits available in the Virgin Islands. Where can they go to get that information?
Okay, so one of the ways that I try to push recently more than any other is we have now a text messaging system, and that number is 1-888-652-8387. 1-888-652-8387. If our veterans will send a text to that number, VI Vets, that's all they have to text. VI Vets, short for veterans. Once you send that text to that number one time, every time that we put out a press release or any information, it will come directly to your phone. And let's think about who has a cell phone in today's age.
Everybody.
Everybody, exactly. So that's why I'm saying this is the best way to get information from the Office of Veterans Affairs. Additionally, we have our website, which is veterans.vi.gov, veterans.vi.gov. We also have a radio show, which I do every Tuesday evening from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on FM 107.9. Every Tuesday evening, 7 to 8 p.m., FM 107.9. That is the Veterans Voice. And we talk about everything related to veterans. Those are the primary ways. And of course, if you need to send us an email, you can send us an email at info_va@va.vi.gov. Those are the primary ways to get to us. You'll always get a response all the time.
Great. And can you repeat that email address once again?
The email address is info_va@va.vi.gov. You'll always get a response.
Fantastic. And I like that text messaging service you have. So again, for our listening audience, you text to number 1-888-652-8387.
Yes.
Again, that's 888-652-8387, and you text the word VI Vets. So like Virgin Islands Veterans, that's VI Vets.
Absolutely.
And you'll receive all of the press releases and all information as it comes out of your
Every
office.
last one that we send out will come directly to your phone. You don't have to go looking for it ever again.
Excellent service. Well, having conversation with Patrick D. Farrell, Director of the Office of Veterans Affairs of the Government of the Virgin Islands. Patrick, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for all of the good work that you're doing on behalf of our veterans here in the Virgin Islands, and we wish you continued success.
Troy, it was my pleasure, and I'd like to say God bless you and the listeners that are on.
Thank you. God bless you as well.